right, everybody, welcome to another episode of When Does the Fuckery End? And what an episode last weekend where we talked about and talked with the surgeons that took care of my life. Well, we have another special guest with us, but first we're going to run down what we always do. And what is that, Kyle?
I don't know. I thought we did it at the end.
Oh my God, Kyle, we do it at the beginning too. See, now he's fired. He got fired at the beginning of the episode.
Maybe I did that on purpose.
Wow. Okay. Well, I don't think you got fired last episode, so
no,
we'll
I
go
didn't.
with that.
It was kind of an awkward episode
We're going to run
do.
down the foundations that have helped me throughout my life and that are good organizations to donate to. And that's one, Focus Marines, which is out here in St. Louis. They help individuals with PTSD, sexual military trauma, all kinds of other things. Then you have the Semper Fi Fund organization, which just did the reunion with us. And then you have the Joshua Chamberlain Society, who helps veterans out here in the St. Louis area. We have Warfighters Engaged, who also helped me build my console for getting back into gaming and playing all kinds of games and things. Mm-hmm. We have, help me out, Kyle, what am I missing?
I think that's really it. I don't think we really, Tunnels to Tower.
Tunnel to Tower. See, I knew I was missing one.
That's the one.
I knew I was missing one. That's why I asked Kyle. I always draw a blank. Ladies and gentlemen, if you ever didn't notice, I do this off a whim. I don't do this off of any note paper or anything that's written down. This is just something that we do to have fun, and it's just, you're getting it straight from our mouths off the top of our heads.
And I think we're sober this time, at least, 2/3 of us are, maybe.
Well, I have had a drink or two. That doesn't mean that I'm sober.
Also, I wanted to mention, doesn't JCS, don't they also not just do St. Louis area? They also do...
Yes, they now have chapters in Nashville and Houston, so you can also look into that as well. They're a great organization. They do great things. They help wounded individuals, and they believe in quality over quantity, which I believe if a lot more people did, there would be a lot more great things going on for veterans in certain areas.
Yes, agreed.
So today we're going to start this episode off, and I have a great pleasure of introducing him. He's a good friend, one of my guys that came in after Iraq. I got to train him, which you'll get to hear more about, and ended up saving my life, which I believe is one of the preludes to what happened to me in Afghanistan. So let's introduce Sean Harrigan.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Hey, no worries. So let's learn a little bit about Sean. Sean, tell us a little bit about you before the military.
Well, I was a normal kid. I'm from Massachusetts. I enjoyed ice hockey growing up. And ever since I was a small kid, the only thing I wanted to do was join the Marine Corps. So I went ahead and did that.
Well, what made you want to join the Marine Corps, Sean?
Well, I wanted to fight.
You wanted to fight.
Well, I guess that's the right branch to join then.
How old were you when 9/11 happened?
I was in 6th grade.
You were in the 6th grade.
Yes.
So I joined in 2007, and you joined in 2008.
So that means you're only a year older than me?
Yep. I am, 33?
Okay.
Wow.
No, we're the same age.
How old were you when 9/11 happened?
2001, so I was 11.
11 years old. So get this, ladies and gentlemen. The war's been going on for so many years. And this guy was 2011, and he decided he wanted to go join the United States Marine Corps to go fight a battle that happened when he was 11. Now, if that doesn't speak volumes about his character and his personality, then I don't know what else does. So, Sean, tell us a little bit about your introduction into boot camp and what happened afterwards.
Well, I recall boot camp. You show up, you do what you're told, you have no problems, and you get right through it. SOI was much of the same. And we got to the fleet, which was 2nd Battalion, 2nd Marines, Fox Company, 1st Platoon, and Todd was our squad leader.
Oh, we'll get back to that one. But do you have any recalls about boot camp? Anything that sticks out in your mind that was different, or your thought when you got in? Like, what am I doing?
Yeah, within a week of being there, I thought to myself, "Sir, you made a huge mistake." It's a little bit too late to get out of it now.
But I think we all thought that. I had the same recollection. I remember sitting there going, "What did I do?" And I was 23 at the time. Yeah. But so, we can dive more into your personal life, or what would you like to do? Where do you want to go with this? I can head it any which way, because I can head straight into where we know each other.
I actually have a question. because I'm curious because something happened while I was in basic training. Did you guys get people because before the do not was it don't ask don't tell was repealed? Did you guys get people that were like, oh, I'm gay and try to get out after they were in the
Kyle,
boot
do we
camp?
go there?
No, because
I never heard any
we
of
definitely
that.
had people. I mean, I was in the Air Force, so that's
trying to get out of it. They just
Yeah,
said,
yeah,
I'm
they-
gay.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, we had that too.
Did you guys?
That
Okay.
or people saying they were suicidal. Or
Yeah.
That I
things
did
like
see.
that. And I believe that's a big part of the generation that was coming up. People getting bullied said, I'm going to show you. I'm going to join the military. And then they join the military and go, oh, shit.
Yeah,
Yep.
this is for real.
This is real. This happens. Yeah, this is what goes down. But, okay, Sean, so we'll get back to a little bit about you. Where'd you grow up? Besides, like, what'd you do as a young child beside hockey and all that stuff?
Are you an only child?
No, I have
His
one
sister's
sibling.
cute.
I have a sister.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Older or younger?
she's younger.
Ooh.
She, married, 3 children. They're pretty cool.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a rough episode because what I'm trying to get at is Sean is not very much of an extrovert. He didn't really want to do this, so he doesn't know what to say. So I'm trying to pull it out of him.
No, I've never talked about this, any of this in public.
I know.
Well, you're
to
not
be
talking
honest
to
with you.
about it in public now.
Yeah.
We're just here. We're just
Yeah.
hanging.
Yeah.
There's 3 guys hanging out in a tiny room smelling each other's breath.
Sausage fest.
Ooh,
Stinks
sausage
in here.
fest. But okay, so you get into the military and you get to the fleet. We've already talked about boot camp. Then all of a sudden you're introduced to the fleet life. What is that like for you?
And that was culture shock.
And why?
It was not what I expected.
What did you expect?
Well, certainly not what what we got is they have an interesting method of training that goes on in the fleet. They do their daytime stuff, and then there's
Nighttime
nighttime
shenanigans.
shenanigans.
All right.
Oh, tell us about some nighttime shenanigans.
No. Let's start with the daytime stuff.
Okay,
Let's
okay.
start there. So during the day, Sean, what would a normal daytime look for you? What would it look like?
In the Marine Corps,
Yes, sir.
oh, we'd wake up, we'd do PT, usually run by you.
And when was that started?
Oh, 0530 or before.
Where?
We'll get into some more stories. I just want him to run down the basics and the facts before we start going into what happened.
Break for chow, then we'd do whatever we're supposed to do or hang out at the barracks.
Yeah. Okay. So around 9 o'clock, what's going on then? After chow,
Drinking beer.
drinking beer.
Oh, you guys were allowed to have beers
Now,
on those
that's,
ships?
That's if we weren't in the field. Let
Right.
me
Yeah.
elaborate
Right.
that because
Right.
most of our training was done on field exercises and all of that. The most of the time when we were at the barracks, that was our downtime. We would
Yeah.
be in the field for 3 weeks at a time, come back for a week, and then we were back in the field again. Which, when I say field, that means training out in the woods, doing ranges, doing exercises. We were training 24/7. There would be a week where we'd have to come back and do admin shit.
Yeah.
So, most pogues, if you agree, would get angry that we got to do what we wanted when we were back at the barracks
Right.
because they had to have their uniforms prepped and cleaned and stand at attention and do all this bullshit. But at the same time, we were the ones getting away with it because you would go to the 24/7 day store and, correct me if I'm wrong, get yelled at by a gunny for having holes in your pants, but you just got back in today's field day.
Right. Yeah. We never had to do any of the traditional crap. We were just there to do a job, and we trained hard, and then we played hard. Absolutely.
And that's the way it goes. So, who was your squad leader?
You, Todd Nicely.
Oh, Todd Nicely. So, tell us a little bit about your first run-in with Mr. Corporal, or at the time, Lance Corporal Todd Nicely.
It was Lance Corporal Nicely, and I had never met him, only heard that his name by name. So being completely disoriented by showing up to a new place I've never been, new unit, new faces, everything. We're doing a battalion sergeant major change of command ceremony. Everyone's got rifles, and we're standing in formation doing all that, military stuff. Well, the next thing you know, someone comes running through and is in my face just screaming at me. And I happened to see the name tape, and I was like, Nicely. I was like, oh, this is the guy that's in charge of me, and he's just
the man, the myth, the legend.
fucking screaming at me for whatever.
Do you remember why he was screaming at you?
I believe it was because I didn't stand up at parade rest the night before when they came in to see who was living in that barracks room, because a bunch of new guys showed up and everyone's trying to see who's got who, and I didn't know what was going on, so I just stood there. I was confused.
And before anybody makes judgment, this is the way it goes. When you come back from a deployment, you get a new set of Marines fresh out of boot camp who don't know what the real world is like. All they know is boot camp. And so they hit the fleet, and that is our job as senior Marines over them to teach them that life is not boot camp. It's not yes sir, no sir. We're going to war in the infantry. We are there to train them to make sure that they stay alive. So instantly they become the target of know everything and know it now. And if they don't, repercussions.
Yep, absolutely. And then, in my opinion, that's the way it's has been done for generations and generations of Marines, and that's the way you do it. You learn from those who've gone before.
And yeah, they got stuck doing some shitty shit.
But that's the way of the world.
Well, was I there with you?
You bet.
Most of the time, unless it was like, please call in front of the barracks, then I'd be like, no, I ain't fucking doing that shit.
I'll watch.
Yeah, I'll watch you pick up cigarette butts that other people flicked into the courtyard. Yeah. But any other time it was, they would ask for a working party, and I'd say, my group will do it, and I took you with me.
Yeah.
And we did it together. For me, that was the best way to learn to cohesion a group of guys that didn't know how to work together, was make them work together. So you've met me. Mm-hmm. Life in the barracks is rough as a boot. Your first deployment, correct?
Correct.
So what else has happened since when you first get into the fleet? Tell us some stories. They can be about me. They can be about whatever. Something that's happened in your life.
Oh, I had showed up in January, and I think we had deployed end of October. Living at, what was that one? 215 across the street from the Chow Hall.
215. Oh, yeah. That was when you guys first came in.
Yeah.
Then we moved over to 217, I think it was, after they redid it.
I don't know.
But yeah, it was 215 right across the street from the Chow Hall.
I remember George came over
and everybody knows George Geddes. We've already interviewed him.
Yeah, he's been on this before, but he was also in our squad. But just so happens, small squad, there were two of us from Massachusetts. George was the other one. He comes in the room, he goes, hey, you fucking boot. Heard you're from Massachusetts. And he threw a tube of shoe glue at me and said, glue my ass flaps back on, which is, there's a piece of the cami trousers that you wear. It's got a double pleat on the behind. Of course, his is ripped.
So George, he's one of my favorite characters.
What did I know? What we just hang out with all the boys. You get to know all your squad mates like Felix and Sam. And
well, see, I think a lot of people don't understand is that me and you have a very close relationship now. But when you were a boot, it wasn't always that way.
No.
Tell us a little bit about the friction between a boot and a senior Marine.
Oh, Todd, we didn't know anything at the time, and it was like, who is this guy? He's a fucking asshole. Just being a dick to be a dick. But down the road we figured out, oh, well, this is why we do it. And we did it to our guys the next cycle.
Right. So what does being a dick mean? I'll never forget the time that I had to go into the commander's office and I was sitting there drunk because we were back from the field.
Oh, yeah.
And I used to go up into Sean's room because I knew he had beer all the time. Yeah. And I used to steal it from him. And I'd be like, I'm taking this. Well, one day I felt guilty doing it, so I left him a 20 in his refrigerator for the beer that I was taking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was
only
an
once,
asshole, but I wasn't a complete asshole.
Only once, though?
Well, just once I left him $20, yeah.
No, I heard the whole gambit. There was, one night where you guys were ransacking everyone's stuff for being dirty or not having field day or whatever the reason was.
Well, that was...
Reasons get invented when there are none, I do believe.
They do get invented, but at the same token, they're for a training purpose. And that's what I believe, that in the military, that hazing is such a slippery slope of not letting it happen that you are not allowed to train your Marines properly.
Oh, yeah.
Right. I think they've gone too far. I think they need to let the guys who are taking the men into combat do what they need to do.
Well, here's the problem. We're running out of men who have been in combat that are in already and to do that job.
Yeah.
Right. So you got to think about it. 2001 is when it happened. We signed in 2007. We've already left Iraq and Afghanistan. How many men are left there still in a sergeant squad to train Marines that are no longer gunnies or staff sergeants or higher?
Yeah, I don't know. All those guys that we were in with their gunnies and
They're
higher.
gone, man. All the war fighters are gone now.
I tell you, I was working when I got out a number of years ago across the street from the recruiting station where I joined up at. So I looked over to the boss. I said, hey, that's where I went in the Corps at. He's like, oh, go say hi. So I dropped what I was doing. I walked across the road and walked in there. And there were 4 Marines all in their dress blue Deltas. And you look at, they've got the campaign ribbons or whatever. And the only ones who had Afghanistan on there were the gunny and then the sergeant major. It made me feel a little bit old.
Yeah. Well, I hear the guys aren't even getting their national defense ribbon anymore.
Yeah. Well,
and for anybody who is curious, the national defense ribbon is the first ribbon you got when you joined in the military during 9/11 or OEF, OIF, because you joined during a time of war for national defense. Yeah. So now that's no longer being given. They show up with 0 ribbons. At least you showed up with 1 ribbon.
Yeah.
And for me, ribbons weren't a thing.
No.
But to show up with 1 ribbon, you felt good to get that ribbon, did you not?
Sure.
I mean, it was like, now I'm one step closer to just looking decorated, I guess you could say.
Not being a boot anymore.
Right, not being a boot, but you're such a boot when you hit the fleet because you walk in and then during uniform inspections, you're standing next to guys that have been to Iraq 4 times, Purple Heart, 4. You're like, God damn, he's got like 30 of them. How do I catch that?
What does somebody say? You're always a boot to someone.
Exactly. We had a private. Well, he was a private because he got knocked down so many times, but he was a private who had over like 15 ribbons. It was like, because he got NJP'd all the time.
Yeah.
But it was like, that's what we were. We were war fighters. We weren't there to caress the system and make them feel good about what they were doing to us. We were there to do our job, and that was it.
Right.
And so, okay, let's get a little bit back in more into Sean and not this ribbon chasing thing. But so Sean, tell us about your first deployment.
Well, we did the workup, and we went over in October 2009. And, it was normal as for me. I hadn't experienced anything yet, and happy, joyous on the plane ride over. We get to Leatherneck. We spend, 2 weeks acclimating?
Yeah, we went to, my squad, my unit left before yours.
You went in advanced party.
I was in an advanced party. We were there before you. I had already been downrange, preparing everything. And then we waited for you guys. So you probably flew into Kyrgyzstan?
Yep, we went to Kyrgyzstan and then Camp Leatherneck from there. And then we hopped on, I can't remember, was it 53s or C-130s to Dwyer?
Doesn't matter at this point.
And then we took a helicopter down to Sharp and then trucks down to PB Lakari.
PB Lakari. So you guys came down in trucks.
Yeah.
If I just want to throw this in there real fast. When my advanced party came flying in, we came in the middle of the night in Blackhawks. We flew down to Sharp in the middle of the night and got shot at. And I recall, I think I talked about this on one episode, the 50 cal coming, gun bullet holes coming through the freaking Blackhawk and oil dripping on my head. And I thinking to myself, welcome to Afghanistan. This is what it's going to be like. And I had already done one tour. So for me, that was a completely different experience as when you came in, we had already landed. So we were prepared. So you meet up with us down at Cop Sharp, I think it was, before we moved down to Lakari, or did you guys?
No, you guys are at Lakari. Yeah. Those little.
Okay, so my first memory of you all being there at Lakari is the first incoming rocket.
Yeah, that's exactly what I remember.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. So we were like standing in the middle, like we just got there. And I remember they fired 2 rockets. First one, I think, went high, and the next one hit the wall or something. But like I looked around and everybody was flat out. And then I made eye contact with you, and you were yelling at me to like lay down or something. And I had no idea. I quickly figured out what was going on and got about as flat as I could.
Yeah, well,
and that's when it became real. I was like, oh, okay.
that's when it became real. So for me, if I may, I'll let you tell some more stories, and then I'll tell what it became real for me, because I'm sure you're gonna talk about one of the first times. What was it like the first patrol you ever went on?
A little uneasy of the unknown. We'd heard that these guys were getting into it. Wouldn't say like fear, but not in like a panic sense. Fear of the unknown. Can I do it? Will I? You know what I mean? Will I be able to?
Oh, I know what you mean. I'm just trying to get your side of the story of it for these people. They don't know. They've heard it from me. They've heard it from other people, but it always comes off different from another person,
right?
Because no one knows your perspective on what happened.
Yeah, we did patrols to the north, right, to like acclimate to the area. We're in a less hot zone, and just kind of got used to these surroundings.
So I want to ask you this question, because as a boot, when I went to Iraq, I really didn't have much to deal with. It was more listen to your seniors, do what you do. Was it the same for you, or did you feel like you needed to have a say, or did you have a say in anything that went down?
No, I had the 249, the saw, and my job was to get that gun up when we took rounds, and that's pretty much it.
See, that's kind of what I want to call bullshit, though. Because when we used to go on patrol, did I not ask if you guys had any other ideas of how things would go down, or how you wanted to do it?
I think you would ask, yeah.
Okay, well, let's make that clear. Because I myself, as a squad leader, always wanted to know. I would give them the rundown, and I wanted them to make sure that if they weren't okay with it, they had a say. Now, does that mean I would change it? No. But I let them know that if they had a different option, I would weigh that.
Right.
And I feel as a senior Marine, that's your job. You have to make sure that your guys are taken care of and they're comfortable into what situation they're going in. Now, I'm not trying to boost my ego here, but because you were under me, this kind of seems like an odd question. But at any time, did you question your leadership?
All the time. Oh, sorry. That was
You're fired. And answer freely.
Not you necessarily, but
the higher.
Higher for sure.
Yeah. I had that problem a lot. Yeah. And I protected you guys from that.
Yeah.
Or at least you tried.
No, I did. Trust me. There was a lot of times where these guys didn't know a lot of what was going to go on, and I made sure it didn't happen. But, okay, so Sean, we're in Afghanistan, and give us a recall of the first day you have ever been shot at.
I would say that was, November 12th. We went out on ambush early in the morning, and we spread out.
Like how early?
Oh, it was probably 3 or 4.
3 or 4.
Early.
So complete dark out.
Let me paint the picture real quick. We had to go out early to set up a overwatch position for a squad that was going out before us. So we had to go out first in the middle of the night so no one's seen us, set up, make sure we had overwatch on the squad that was about to patrol into the town, I guess you could say. I don't know what the hell to call it. But we had to keep an overwatch to make sure no one was moving in and out during the time.
Yeah. And then when the sun came up, you kind of get your bearing, look what's going on, and then they started shooting.
So what's going through your mind?
At first, it was real exciting, and then you could feel when someone shot at me individually. So I got a little bit lower, and then I was like, oh, this is really for real.
That moment when you know it's for real.
Yeah.
Definitely a moment you'll never forget.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then, we ended up, the only way to go after him was to assault across the open field. So we did it boot camp style, buddy rushes.
So for everybody, what's a buddy rush?
I'm up, they see me, I'm down. You get up, you run, you lay right back down so nobody can draw a bead on you.
And ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that are listening right now, to get up and run across an open field while bullets are flying is something you'll never forget because you're waiting for that one bullet to hit you. Am I correct?
Oh, yeah.
And for when people say that Marines are crazy, they're 100% correct.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we thought even you're crazy. Like, this is
I
mad.
was
This
crazy.
is madness.
I'll say he is crazy. I
But,
don't
you know,
But
you go and you got to.
that's the thing. For someone to run towards bullets, that's not normal human nature. That is something that fight or flight, you're trained to run from danger. The Marine Corps trains you to run towards it.
They do a good job.
And that's what's going to bring us full circle here as we continue this commentary. So, Sean, after your first firefight, you're a little shaken, you're a little weary.
Oh, yeah.
And how bad does it get after that?
Oh, it gets real bad. As far as intensity, because every day, and sometimes multiple times a day, we were going outside the wire doing, what we had to do.
And what did we have to do? Tell us about Mobicon.
Oh,
What is?
Wait,
You say Novacon?
Mobicon. Let me put a segue into this.
It's a village.
So one day we're getting ready to go out on patrol, and Sean is in my squad, as you all know. He's my boot. One of my good friends now, but at the time, just a guy that I've trained that is at war with me. And we're standing there, and I'm telling them we're about ready to go do something. And I say, hey, we're going to Mobicon. And I look directly at Sean, and he goes, Mobicon? That just sounds scary.
Oh, yeah, it was.
So tell us what happened at Mobicon.
That was what, the day... that was the day they attacked us, and we chased them, what, a click and a half
At least.
northwest to the village.
So it was before you even got to Movicon.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. How many were there?
I don't remember
We don't know how many there was.
It was really hard to see the the opposite end there. They're good at what they did.
And that's let's pause there because you said they are good at what they did.
Yeah.
Most people think, why can't they just go over there and fight these guys and be done with it?
Yeah, no.
What most people don't understand is they're smarter than people think. They do guerrilla warfare style where they watch you day in, day out, watch what you do, watch where you go, watch how you patrol.
And they record you.
I'm sure they do.
They record you, and then they go back and look and see what you guys did and how you responded,
Oh, yeah.
and then they change their tactics accordingly.
Now, I don't remember if you remember this day or not, but when Sergeant Latimer and I came up with a concoction of how he wanted to get into a gunfight because he hadn't been in one yet because we took all the 11 to 4 hours. But we talked about how, look, I just went this way, go the reverse way. They'll be waiting for you. That's when Homer almost stepped on an IED and another gunfight ensued. That's how we knew they were watching us and coordinating towards how we were moving. And it became very intense.
It did.
And so I know everybody's wondering, when are you going to get to the part where Sean saved your life? When are you going to get? Well,
That's way later.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll get to that. Just hold on. Let's learn a little bit about Sean. So, Sean, tell us your experience of the deployment and how it affected you.
In the present day or when I was there?
While you were there and present day.
Well, when I was there, I didn't think too much. I mean, we didn't really have a whole lot of time to think. We were just doing, as far as what I remember. You turn into a different person, and that's who you are while you're there.
And the silence says everything right there. I mean, you turn into a different person, right?
Sure.
I mean, that can be relayed anyway. You turn into a different person. That's hard to swallow for me and you and for people who have been there. But for people who don't understand, that's a hard pill to swallow. Because you've been told multiple times, you're a different person, you're a different person, you're a different person. But you yourself don't realize the changes that you've made.
Right. No, you.
It's like owning a dog, is what I like to say, is that you don't understand how big he's getting until someone who hasn't seen him in a while goes, wow, that dog's gotten so big in 2 months. You're like,
Right.
no, he hasn't. You know, you don't understand or comprehend it, but you have. And war itself will change you.
I'd agree with that.
So let's flash back. Let's get out of the war stuff for a minute.
Sure.
Let's go back to boot camp and talk about Corporal Todd nicely.
Go back to boot camp.
Yeah, or not boot camp. I mean the fleet.
Okay.
So I remember one time when I came back, I walk in at 0530 ready for PT, and I see a pile of pizza boxes sitting next to a certain person's rack, which is a bed.
Oh, yeah.
So I decide, what's going to happen, Sean?
Everybody's getting their shit cleaned.
I take these guys on a run called a death run. And I would stop every so often. I don't even know where you fell out on it.
Flutter kicks?
No, flutter kicks. Everybody, he was kicking his fingers up and down. If anybody doesn't know what a flutter kick is, that's where your legs go up and down. And we would get all the way to 99, and then I would say, what?
Get up and run some more?
No, I would say, guess what? Lance Corporal Thomas's feet hit the ground. Let's start over. So they would puke, and I'm just trying to lay out a foundation of the relationship that me and Sean had.
Oh, yeah.
Before we went to war.
Yeah.
Because the next part that comes up is really going to indicate no matter how hard you had it during fleet time, the guys that you serve with when you're getting shot at left and right really makes a difference.
Right. I always thought that, the unit training is just to weed out who doesn't belong, and that's all.
That was 100% true. We sent a lot of guys to headquarters.
Yeah, I was about to ask that. I was like, did you send? Okay.
Yeah, we sent a lot of guys to headquarters. 8th and I guys. I mean, we got rid of corporals that.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Instead of lance corporals that we've been training with because of certain reasons they couldn't hack it. They couldn't.
Corporal, he showed up and he's hanging out with the boots.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Come on, buddy.
Hey, Corporal, why are you with that PFC? Get over here.
They don't respect you.
Well, Sean, I hate to do this to you, but we're going to have to talk about that day.
Which day?
You know what day. March 26, 2010.
Oh, absolutely. For sure.
So this all runs back to when we just talked to the doctors. And let me do this first. Let me read a insert from a nurse that was there that day too, since we've already done the doctors, and I hope she doesn't get mad because hopefully one day I'll get to meet her in return.
Brittany's beefcakes.
No, not Brittany's. It's Brittany's beef curtains.
I'm sorry.
And I hope she doesn't get mad so she can tell her story. But I feel like it falls in line with what we're talking about here. And I'm just going to go ahead and read it.
Shit, because that is long. Yeah.
No. I'm just going to hit the notes because in it, well, let's just skip it. I'll skip that. But in it, she says that the Marine downrange who put the tourniquets on your body saved your life, just like the doctors and the surgeons that were in the last episode. So who was that Marine?
That'd be me.
And
Felix.
You and Felix Camarillo.
Yeah.
What kind of training did you have?
We had the basic, what was the CLS, Combat Lifesaver, that every Marine went to, but then I went to a different one that involved some live tissue training.
And how was that orchestrated?
Well, we trained on living animals.
Yeah. Hey, PETA, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Well, it's good. It gave me confidence that our gear works,
Did you shoot the animals and then?
I did not.
Did somebody shoot the animals and then you worked on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, like I said, PETA, go fuck yourself. Animals save lives.
Yep. We did everything: major arterial bleeds, gunshot wounds, needle decompressions.
Wow.
So if you've been listening to the podcast, you already know the situation, how it was laid out, why I was out that day, what had happened. I wasn't with a corpsman. This is the man that I was with because he went through that type of training because I wasn't with a Navy corpsman that I was alive. So like I said, Peter, go fuck yourself. Anyway, Sean, tell us a little bit about that day. What were we doing? What happened?
Okay, well, we were on a small patrol, I believe, to go locate something that they were tracking. And on the way back, as we finished what we were doing, and on the way back, we went up the road, Route Cowboys. You were first, and the LT was next to you. We had A&A, and then it was me, Sam, and Felix. So I remember we were approaching the bridge, and I remember you talking about it a little. But after that, I don't remember the blast. I don't remember you walking toward the bridge or anything like that. The next thing I remember is just a dust cloud, and I'm sitting up off my back. I don't know how long it had been. I was a little confused, and then Thomas came over and he grabbed me. He picked me up, and he had me grab the radio so we could swap the freak because we were listening to weapons because we were expecting to maybe help them out, because they were getting into it a lot at that time. But swapped on the company net, and he said, "You got to get up there." Nicely said. So I ran up there, and the lieutenant's half in the water, and he's got you dragged up on the bank. And as we get up there, we move you up onto the flat part of the road. Do you remember how that looked?
Oh, yeah. So when he says up on the flat part of the road, when I hit the ground, if you listen to the other ones, I remember the water splashing on my face, and he said the lieutenant grabbed me up. So we're in a canal, and that's at like 45 degrees almost to the canal each side. And the water, I would say it's about, 10 feet from the water to the edge to the road?
Yeah.
At a 45 degree angle?
5-6 feet, yeah,
Okay.
45 degree. And I don't know how long he had gotten you out of there, what had happened. I had just woken up, for all intents and purposes. And get up there. So we grabbed you, put you up on the flat. Your head was to the water. And that's when, the lieutenant was there, and I started reaching in my shit to pull out tourniquets, because, your right leg was bent back up, your left leg was gone, your left arm was pretty much gone down low, and your right arm was really, really gone up high, and it was bleeding quite a bit. So I started there, got one on there, and I don't remember the order we put the other ones in, but at some point in that, I had needed a hand, so I grabbed for Felix to come up, and he helped me with the final tourniquet. So at that point, we had 4 tourniquets on you, and you're still bleeding out of your right arm. So I wedged you up on top of me in an effort to get that part, the highest above your heart. And I think we put another tourniquet on there. But at that point, then I went into stuffing where it was coming out of your arm. Simultaneously directing the other guy, Felix, because at this point, George showed up with Franny's med bag. So we had a lot more supplies to work with. So I was kind of just being the guy on the spot, with those two were to my right. After we'd stopped the major bleeding with the tourniquets, we went, to check everything else. George, you probably heard him say there.
He checked make sure my wiener was there.
Yeah, we got the K-bar, we cut away all your clothes, and we started. Basically, the only place you didn't have any holes on you was where that SAPI plate was. You had holes on your lower abdomen, your chin was to and through, perforations in your arms, your upper legs, everything. It took 3 of us to stuff gauze in those holes and get pressure dressings over what we could at that time. And then, the other guys were, working on a 9-line, which and holding security, so I didn't have to pay attention to anything except for what I was doing. You know what I mean? They were doing heard some banging going on, but didn't have to pay no attention because they were doing their job so we could do ours. But, after that, it kind of gets a little
dark.
Little fuzzy for me. I remember we made it so we rolled you over, make sure there wasn't anything on your back that we might have missed. And I remember being past the radio because the battalion MO was on the hook, and they wanted to talk to try to get us to get some fluid into you. Which I remember him trying to describe what an IO, I believe it's called an interosseous device to put fluid into your sternum. I was looking for that. I didn't, I'm not familiar with the med bag. I'm not really familiar with that piece of gear to begin with anyway. And we couldn't find any of that. So we just kept on doing what we were doing. And it was constantly checking to make sure no blood was coming. And then we were doing a pretty good job from what I remember at stopping it. Now, at some point, the real corpsman showed up, and we continued to do what we were doing, except he was doing, stuff that he knows better that I'm not really exactly sure. The only thing I really remember is he was able to get fluid into your neck.
Along with the tracheotomy.
Yeah, I don't remember that. Yeah. So they put one in you right there. Yeah. I heard that on the...
But here's the one thing I want you to know, Sean, is if you listen to the last episode, which you said you did.
I did, yeah.
Is that the surgeon said that if the Marine down, and sorry if I'm getting choked up here. If the Marine downrange would have done what he did as quick as he did, I wouldn't be alive.
Yep.
And so to have this conversation with you is a little bit bittersweet. Because for me, I wouldn't be alive if you would have done what you did. It wasn't the surgeons. Because they've already said it.
Yeah.
It's because you did what you did. And from what I remember of you in combat, you weren't such a let's go get them guy.
Yeah.
And for you to step up that day just amazes me because you never know who's going to be what when you need them.
Yep.
And you find out who's who in that moment.
Yep.
So I want myself to thank you for that.
Thank you.
And you'll always be one of my best friends forever.
For sure.
BFFs, you guys get matching tattoos.
Oh, yeah.
We
We'll
should
get one of
definitely
my
do
dick
that.
on his forehead.
I don't think so, buddy.
No, I had to go there because now I'm crying and I had to be macho.
No, that was a blur. And this happened in a very short period of time, all of this that I just described. Like, it seemed that, and then you were gone flying away. So, I don't know how quick those guys got there with that helicopter, but it was Ricky Tick, really fast.
Well, it's crazy that I'm putting all of this together because I'm getting stories from everyone that I've never met before and how they worked on me and how I stayed alive. And hearing all of it is the amount of manpower, the amount of men and hours and time it took and blood and just unselfish sacrifices of people to keep one person alive is astronomical.
That's Marine Corps.
That's
One
the
team.
military.
One team.
One team, one person. To find that in today's society is completely not even found.
Mm-hmm. I think that's what drives us combat veterans to continue to reunite with each other.
Well, and that not even combat veterans, just veterans.
Veterans in
'Cause
general,
us at
yeah.
Focus,
Yeah.
just with Marines or
Yeah.
being in the military or having served with Kyle. I
Yeah.
mean, being around a veteran, you know what you're getting yourself into.
Yep.
You know that you're getting yourself into having someone's back, there's some we don't really necessarily care for, but that's in every...
Way she
But
goes.
you would always have their back, even if you didn't care for them, if something was going down.
Right.
And that's what I'm getting at is today in the civilian life, people don't have that anymore.
No.
No, we lacked the connection that we had.
All right, so that's happened.
Mm-hmm.
What happens afterwards?
Yeah, I'm actually really curious about this because I don't think anybody's really talked about after Todd has left. What did you guys do? Like, what did you do?
Well, we carried him to the bird, and that thing, boom, gone. And then it went back to quiet. So we walked back to, they had a perimeter set up. We walked back to see what the hell was going on and figure out, who's in charge and what we're going to do now. So I walked back over there, and they were just we were picking up all the pieces.
When he says pieces, he means my body parts and weapons and
pieces of you, little pieces of your
but
gear.
We're not talking about what happened right after. We're talking about what happened after your squad leader's gone now. What happens?
Yeah.
They made Ortiz the squad leader. I don't remember a whole lot from the next 3-4 weeks, to be honest with you.
Most of it you probably wouldn't, because the way it trickles down, Sean was, when I say a boot, it means he was underneath me. He wasn't in charge. He was just doing what he was told when he was told, and that's why. The way the chain of command comes down, where I was at, I got a lot of the snowball effect from shit that my guys were doing. I mean, tell them about Sean never wore pants.
No. Well,
what do you mean by pants?
At the end, it got real hot.
Okay, so you wore like shorts.
We have to get wet, so I just take my pants off, hang them up to dry.
We would be at the OP, which is an operating base, and a gunny came down one time, and I'd be like, Sean, put pants on. He'd be like, no, I'm not doing it.
Well, fuck that asshole. Horse on pony show for those douchebags.
Like, I'm not putting on pants.
Except our gunny was cool.
I'm not putting on pants. Well, then we have a gunny come down. I'm like, Sean, put on pants. They're coming. He's like, no, I'm not putting on pants. So gunny comes down. George has mutton chops. Looks like Wolverine, and you're supposed to shave every day. Sean's not wearing pants. Half of my squad's running around. The only people that were really doing what they needed to do was the people on post. And that's all that needed to be done anyway.
I thought you were going to say your lieutenant.
No, our lieutenant?
No. He went away.
Who's to know where he was at this time?
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into...
He's a little shook up.
Yeah, I'm not going to go into personal history on how I feel about him, but he wasn't in the scene. I was down there running a one-squad show at an OP in the tip of the spear. Like, at any moment, we could have been overrun type of place. And he's not wearing pants. George has a mutton chops. I mean, Gunny comes down, and I said, Gunny, he said, what kind of show are you running down here? Nicely? I should have said it like...
You should have.
Like Hawkins. Gunny! Or, nicely! What kind of show are you running down here? I was like, well, Gunny, these guys could be killed any day, so I really don't care what the fuck they do if they're not on post. And he said, well, you better get it all fixed up. The CO's coming down here. So I had to run around, gather up all these buffoons, get them all shaved up, dressed up, standing in order. And think about this. They want you to be like that every day, and you're in the middle of a combat zone. You know how we shaved? Tell them how we shaved.
Either we didn't, or just poke a hole in a water bottle and you squirt yourself and squirt it down.
Dry shave with a water bottle every day.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it was ridiculous. You want us to go fight a war and shave our face every day while we have no utensils pretty much to eat with?
There's two different versions of the military. There's what we were doing, and then there's the rest.
Yeah. Well, that's
and that's the way it goes because that's their job. But
that's true. All right, so enough a little bit about that story. I just wanted you all to get into the mind of the person that the doctors said the Marine who did what they did downrange is the one who saved your life. Well, you just got to meet him a little bit. So where are you at today, Sean?
St. Louis, Missouri.
No, where are you at mentally? I
feel great.
Feel great?
I feel pretty good, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about where you were after all of this.
Oh, not so good. Deep into the beers and not wanting to be present for reality.
Yeah.
Like I said, it changes you, and I don't know.
So you learned a little bit about self-medication and...
Yeah, so like the rest of us, absolutely.
Isolation.
Yeah.
I mean, one time I called this guy, and he was... I FaceTimed him, and he looked like Saddam Hussein, who had been hiding in a hole for like 12 days, and he was in his basement.
Yeah, I moved around quite a bit. Everywhere from here to Missouri up to Western Maine. Then I decided to come back here last year.
How's that been working out for you?
Pretty good.
Yeah?
Pretty good.
So recently you found yourself a girlfriend. What's her name?
I did. Gina. She's pretty
Gina?
cool.
I think she's pretty good for you.
That's right.
But what kind of programs have you been through that have helped your life?
Well, you recommended that I go to Focus Marines, and I did that in December of 2019. And, I listened to the class, it sunk in, and I realized that I had some things to address. Went away from that, kind of ignored that for a while, went back to doing my own thing. Wasn't having much success with any of that. So I decided to re-engage, come back out here, get re-involved with Focus, and I show up and help with the drive-in and show up at some of the fundraisers, and that's helpful for me. I enjoy it. I enjoy the people there. I enjoy networking with other veterans.
How is it helpful for you, though? Is it being around other veterans?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, because I don't really say much, and it's to the point now where I enjoy going out to see all those guys, even some of the old timers. And
see, now this is where we're gonna get Kyle involved. Now you know what kind of person Sean is. Kind of an introvert, doesn't really like to be outspoken and whatever. But this is a surprise category that I brought up for today.
Surprise! Oh yeah, he did say there was going to be a surprise.
Yeah, surprise.
Fantastic.
So we're going to talk about conspiracy theories.
Oh God!
Oh, I thought you were going to say sex.
No.
Baby.
Let me get my tinfoil hat out.
Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all
right. Too many weirdos in one room.
Right, one too many. So, conspiracy theories. I thought this would be a great topic with the fact that Sean's kind of an isolation guy. Yeah. If you were to see him, you would probably think he was a conspiracy theory guy.
I believe he is.
I will not confirm nor deny.
That's definitely a confirmation in my book.
So I want to go over some of the few ones I found online. A lot of them are kind of out there, but some of them seem like they could be realistic, and I want to get you guys' thoughts on them, and I'll give you mine as well. So one of the first one is COVID-19 was engineered by the media.
By the media? Nah.
No. So where do we believe it was engineered?
It was China. It was definitely China.
Absolutely.
Do we believe it was engineered by China? Or do we believe that COVID-19 was actually just a flu and made to be out?
No, it's
China.
They've specifically stated that it's been an engineered virus.
Well, it started in China, didn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So do we believe this is true or false?
Oh, I believe that conspiracy is false, but I do believe somebody did make it and did choose when to throw it out. I am a little bit of a conspiracy theorist and things like that.
So it was during the election time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, or no, it was like halfway through Trump's but it's when they start their campaigning is when it is.
Yeah.
Because they start their campaigning 2 years before the election. It's insane.
Now, this one seems a little far-fetched, but at the same time, I will explain myself after I get the answer from these two. The Earth is hollow.
No. Lava and shit.
I don't know. I can't say one way or another because because we as a human race cannot know for sure. Anybody that believes that it is 100% true one way or another, it's impossible for us to know until we get down there.
That is my point exactly. That's why I said I would hold off, because we've never drilled down
past
that
the crust.
Far.
No. We literally have not gone through the crust.
A layer of circular magma, and you drill past it and there's nothing.
Right. Personally, I've never seen anyone dig out more than 20 feet for a foundation?
Not even 20 feet, but they've drilled how the scientists say that
400 feet from my well and water comes out.
Right.
So.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I believe.
How do we know that the Earth is just a core of magma when we've never drilled that far to know?
Can't tell no knowing.
I want to talk about something. They say that the core of the Earth it's like nickel or something like that.
It's a molten ball of magma.
but it's a specific type of metal. And I'm pretty sure that the metal that they state is not magnetic. But so then how do we, and they say that it turns and that's what creates the magnetic field around us. But if that field is there, but the metal in there is not actually magnetic, how do we have this field?
No one will ever know. See,
that's the conspiracy theories.
This brings me in. We could talk about this for hours because this brings us back to how do we believe that what people wrote books in history is actually real because we weren't there.
We know that it's always written by the victors and it's always skewed towards the victor. I mean,
that's true. But the only reason we know what is true now is because it's documented by the people who actually did it and can be verified. Back then, it was documented by someone who wrote about someone and it was never verified.
Yeah.
So now, where do we go from there?
Exactly. I mean,
we only are told purple is purple because that's what we're told.
I mean, that's just a label onto a.
That's what school's for, conditioning.
Yeah.
All right.
I have one because Ryan, our cousin, likes to talk about this one. What do you guys think about the moon landing? Do you think it was real?
Oh, that was my next one. The moon landing.
I'd like to think it's real because that'd be cool.
Okay, but here's my thought process. Why haven't we gone back?
Oh, that's an easy one.
Why?
The dust.
The dust?
Oh, yeah. The dust, if you look up, the dust is like extremely aggressive. Like they have holes in their suits and it's just, it's not good.
The dust is aggressive.
Yeah, like so.
Is it bacteria?
No, it's more like the dust on the moon damages everything.
So it's like small rock particles. That
it's like a constant damage over time.
Still think it's fake.
Asbestos.
I want to believe it's real, and I want to believe it's real because they left mirrors up there so that we can reflect and tell how far and stuff away it is.
Have a telescope?
What?
Don't you have a telescope?
I don't have a telescope, but if they left mirrors up there, did they? Or is that actually the dark side of a moon military base that we don't know about?
No, like on the light side of the moon, they left mirrors. And you and I, if we have the equipment, we can shoot a laser up there and then receive it back.
Then why does nowhere on the internet say anything about that?
I mean, have you really looked for it specifically?
I shouldn't have to if they're trying to say the moon landing was real. That should be a part of everything. Have you seen a mirror up there?
No, but I haven't.
Okay, so then.
But I've seen the test results of the mirrors.
No, you've seen laser beams bouncing off.
No, because the laser beam on the way back is so far, it's not physically, you can't see it. You have to have special equipment to read it.
Sean, or not Sean, Kyle, you're fired.
I'm fired.
I don't like your opinion. You're out
it's
here.
not his opinion. I don't
Todd's world.
Like I said, I want to believe that the moon landing was real. If it wasn't, I wouldn't be horribly surprised. I'd just be really sad.
Well, I can understand
because I want to believe that human engineering in the like the 50s, 60s, got to the moon.
I can see both sides.
100%. I can see
them trumping it up as sort of propaganda against the Soviets.
Yeah, to get them to collapse their economy. Yeah, I could definitely see that. But I want to believe.
I do too.
Because
I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I don't human believe for the simple fact that we haven't been back there yet.
Oh, we're going back, right?
I think they've restarted.
2025.
They've restarted
in the 70s, they just invented color television, and now we have iPhones that can FaceTime people, but we haven't been back to the moon yet.
We are. Do you not know this? We are NASA sending a team up to the moon for a base.
They're for what? Space Force?
Yeah, just a base on the moon.
How do you feel about Space Force, Sean?
Space Marines, like that movie. I can't even. Starship Troopers. That's all I think about.
That movie. I've seen that movie, but it's
so stupid.
It's so stupid.
Space Marines.
Next one, since we all can't come to an agreement on that one.
Yeah, that's fair.
JFK was killed by the government.
Probably.
Oh, I believe it.
Probably.
Yeah, I would say I believe
that
it.
That was so quick.
Yeah, I mean,
I watched the movie. Someone who knew what they were doing did that.
But okay, so we got to think about the times. We got to think about what he stood for
and what he said he was going to do.
Yeah,
but most presidents don't.
No. He, as a president, not before he was president. While he was president, he's like, "Hey, He was about to drop the bomb on all these organizations and what they're doing to the American people."
What organizations? Which could
The
bring me
three-
to one that I didn't
The
put on
three-letter
list.
organizations.
The Illuminati.
No, I'm
don't
talking
know.
about like
like the government,
the
No, the CIA.
the CIA specifically.
Yeah, stuff, Homeland Defense. Yeah,
the way.
I don't think they liked the way he was not enthusiastic about the Cuba invasion,
yep.
and they really wanted to do that.
And I think he was also not. He was really against the Federal Reserve, right?
I don't know. I can't speak to money. I don't have any.
So has anybody heard about the weird differences between JFK and Lincoln?
Yes, I have
do you
seen
mean?
that theory.
What do I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
I never heard
okay, they
this.
were both killed by 3 named people.
John Wilkes
They were
Booth and Lee
both
Harvey
Marines, or
Oswald.
one was a Marine and one was, or they were sharpshooters or something. One was
We gotta
killed
look
in
this.
one was killed in a theater and ran to a library.
Library.
The other one was killed from a library and ran to a theater.
Yep.
There's
I
a
think-
whole bunch of them.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
keep reusing the same playbook.
Right.
Well, I think they were also like born on the same day or something. There's something about the dates
Right.
were very similar.
There's a lot. If you look it up online, there's a lot of weird coincidences between Lincoln and Kennedy.
Yeah.
And they were both for civil rights. They were both for it's very strange. So we'll move on to the next one. And this one I find can be kind of out there, but I don't believe what I'm about to say. I believe that what they're doing is causing what I say, and I'll explain. Airplane exhaust trays are filled with chemicals.
Say that again.
Airplane exhaust fumes. You know how you see the airplanes with the trails behind them with the white
Yeah.
fumes?
Yep.
Are filled with chemicals to hurt the human beings.
I thought that was water vapor because of physics.
Okay, well, here's my understanding from what I may know or may not know. I could be wrong, so don't take this as truth. Is that in Texas, they've been doing it for a while using some kind of oxide in the air to make clouds to make rain.
Yeah.
So could this or could this not be true? I don't know.
I believe it could be true. I don't know if I believe it.
Well,
but-
the next best instrument of war is going to be controlling the weather.
Oh, yeah,
So
for
why
sure.
not learn how to do it?
I mean, anything's possible, like he said.
Sean's very animated, so you don't get to see him rolling his eyes and rolling his shoulders up, putting his hand up.
It's part of
But-
staying silent. You gotta
Yeah, I mean,
do other stuff.
what do you guys think about that one?
I mean, I think it's definitely possible. I think it'd be easier to just, produce a virus and then genetically engineer it or change it and then just release it on a population than controlling the weather to hurt somebody.
Yeah. I don't know.
But I think
I don't think about it one way or the other.
Yeah.
It's not something I give much mind.
Well, Sean, that's not very good at being a participant in this. You have to
Give me
us
more.
your opinion.
The
Give you
tinfoil
more.
hat comes on sometimes.
Give you more. All right. Well, then we got time for a couple of would you rather's.
I don't know.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Pick your
You did it
poison.
to
What is-
yourself. You
so this
said,
is
"Give me more."
From the deck of cards called
Yeah.
Pick Your Poison.
Pick your poison.
This is
So you're gonna go first.
this is PG compared to what we
No,
used to do.
this show is
Yeah.
explicit.
No,
so-
no, the cards.
Oh,
Yeah,
no, these
yeah.
are explicit as well.
Okay.
Have you ever, or would you rather have every partner from now on cheat on you, or have a friend or family member die every year on your birthday? And why would you choose that?
Oh,
There's no and why. It's just which one would you rather? You
Fair
can tell
enough.
us why.
have a partner cheat. I don't want my
Have
friends to
every
die.
partner from you now on cheat on you.
or my friends and family die.
Every year on your birthday.
have a friend or family member die every year on your birthday.
Oh, if every partner cheats on me, then I can just get a new one, and none of my friends would die.
Exactly. That was
Yeah,
my
yeah.
perspective,
About that.
100%. So I think we're all in we're all in the same arena on
Oh
that
yeah,
one.
for sure.
Cool.
I'd rather the pain be on me than the actual physical death of
Yeah,
my
all right.
family member.
Schlep this off to somebody else.
The pain of losing, having someone cheat on you, you can still have sex with them. Right?
Yes.
I mean, you lose a friend, they're gone forever.
Right.
Someone
mean-
cheats on you, you can still have sex with them next year if you want.
Fair enough. Okay, would you rather be unable to get drunk or train daily with the judge? Yeah, train daily with the judge until you can put your whole fist in their anus.
The judge.
Yeah, it says judge.
A judge of what?
train daily with the judge. I guess that's a person. Is there somebody called the judge?
Give it to Sean. Let's figure this out.
Train daily with the judge until you can put your whole fist in there.
Who's the judge?
Yeah, that's what I'm
Judge
wondering.
is capitalized. So
Yeah.
The judge is capitalized?
So it's
is that
gonna
like
be-
some kind of sexual, like, dominant person?
But anyway,
that we don't know
we're
about?
gonna
Judge
do-
Joe Brown from Daytime
Judge
TV.
Joe Brown. So Judge Joe Brown is also Cop Joe Brown and the Water Works Joe Brown and the mayor of a place in Iowa.
The most excellent human being that I know.
Except for he's disgusting.
I love Joe Brown.
Joe Brown.
So which would you rather do?
Not drink alcohol.
Yeah, I was feeling the same way.
'Cause I
Well,
don't
yeah,
seem
because I
to
don't know
need
who the
that
judge
anymore.
is. So
But it doesn't matter. It's not your anus though. It's
I don't
his.
have a fist, so I'm
Todd's-
taking the judge.
Yeah, yeah.
That's only one you could say.
Yeah.
All right, one more, and then we're gonna run this down.
All right.
Okay. Better make it sure it's good, Todd.
It better be a good one, Kyle, or you're fired.
I've already been fired. It's cool.
Well, you were rehired during the middle of the show.
Would you rather have a family member walk in on you peeing on your partner, or have your child catch you cheating on your spouse?
Peeing.
Yeah, peeing all
Pain.
day.
I mean,
yeah.
some of these, one more because those are kind of like, grab 4 and pick 2 of the more interesting
You know,
ones
when
to
I
put
tried to do that before, you told me I was
told you
cheating.
no, but it's
yeah.
coming out. It's coming out very easy.
Stacking
That's
the
what she
deck
said.
over
That's
here,
what she
gents.
said.
Oh God.
Brittany's beef curtains.
Okay. Let's see. Would you rather swallow a used condom you found on the sidewalk, or become a prostitute for a year?
Prostitute.
Oh, I don't know. What kind of it doesn't say, so that's like an open-ended question.
Prostitute.
Allow me to
Corner
specify.
prostitute. You're gonna have all the
How many times am I having sex and with who?
exactly.
So
And are they fucking you or
the swallow a condom one is very specific. So I'm going to go with be a prostitute for a year because I could be a male prostitute to women.
that's a gigolo, not a prostitute?
No, that's untrue. A prostitute
There's
is a sex
class.
worker.
There's class levels, buddy.
No. It doesn't matter. Swallowing a condom was very specific.
Mm-hmm. But it also doesn't state that you wouldn't be fucked in the ass all the time with condoms.
But it doesn't say that.
Yeah, but
But the condom says I have to swallow it specifically.
mm-hmm.
So no, I'm not swallowing a condom specifically. I would rather be a prostitute
and it's a used condom.
with a woman.
But that doesn't mean that
But
you.
it doesn't say it's not.
But you can't say that it is
But
either.
It doesn't say it's not.
But it doesn't
Kyle.
say it is.
These cards need to be more specific. We should write up our own. So I think we'll do that next time.
Okay, so here's the deal. Prostitutes also do oral sex.
So now you're changing the card.
Yeah, I'm going to change the cards because you want to get more specific. You have to be the female
I'm the female.
for a year.
He's a glory
But if I'm
hole
a female,
operator.
there's already prostitutes who do it and love it.
Yes, but there's guys that want guys.
Do you think a prostitute wants to swallow a condom?
No.
Then I would rather be a female prostitute who does it for money all
I
the
mean,
time.
you'd still be a male, but you know.
No, you said I got to take it.
No,
in the ass all
you.
the time.
Yes, you have to be the female quotations.
I have
to
to
be
be
the
female.
receiver.
If I'm a female, I'm okay with taking it.
No,
in the
you
ass.
have to be the
See,
receiver.
this
Is what
why
I'm
this
saying.
show goes on and on because there's all these different.
You guys are ridiculous.
You understood what I was saying, right? He's supposed to be the receiver, not that you are a female. That you are the receiver. You're the one that.
But am I a female or a male?
You're a male. You're who you are
I'm the
now.
male and I
You're
gotta take
just
it in the butt all the time.
You have to be the receiver. It doesn't have to be the butt. You
It
have to
could be
do
orally?
sexual. Yeah,
From
that's
who? A male or a female?
doesn't matter.
See, now we're getting into
You
it.
play in the outfield.
Yes, exactly.
I'm still not swallowing a rubber. I'll die. I'll choke on it.
You hope.
Yeah, you hope.
I don't think I would die because I can't.
Oh fuck.
Anyway, I
Nice.
hope you all enjoyed this episode. Sean, we're going to run this down with one last thing. What is your favorite Todd moment?
Oh, my favorite Todd moment.
Or Todd's story.
Todd story. Yeah, it doesn't have to be your favorite Todd moment. What is your favorite story that you will never forget about Todd Nicely?
Boating at Lake of the Ozarks.
Well, tell us about it.
Well, they set Todd up with a real nice spot and a real nice boat, and they let the two of us drive that thing around the lake and hit all the bars and the poker run. I don't know. It was a grand old time.
Well, let me finish his story. We both woke up the next morning not knowing where the boat was, and I had to wake up and wonder where Sean was. And I had to follow a trail of clothes all the way up to the second floor to find him half naked in a bed on the second floor.
We had a good time.
It was a great time.
Sounds
all right,
like a good
ladies
time.
and gentlemen, thank you for your time. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you on the next one.
See y'all.